Hello and welcome. This is Megan from Living Light Collective, and today I'm here with Josh. And Josh is one of our brilliant authors who's done an amazing job with his chapter. And right now, Josh is going to tell us a little bit about himself and those very funky glasses he's wearing today.
Yeah, I've been through quite a bit. Um, as you can probably tell, it's a bit migrainey and head spacey and stuff. Uh, it's been a great time writing alongside all the other authors and Megan.
Yeah.
And with the glasses, I need a little bit of help to prevent the blue light coming into my eyes to make my migraines and stuff worse. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Good to see that you are all protected and taking care of yourself and your needs, which is really important. Yeah. So I'm just going to recap a little bit and that, understanding that you're dealing with some chronic stuff in life and have been for a while. So that's what led you to me. You walked through the door of my clinic and we had some conversation beforehand. And then when I met you, I was like, hey, I'm actually doing this project and I really think you would be a part of it. And here
yeah.
you are.
It was perfect timing. It wasn't too long before we started everything and got it all
It was,
rolling. So
it absolutely was, wasn't it? It was just this divine, you just showed up and there you were. And it's like, oh, Josh, you've got a story, mate. And people need to hear it.
yeah, well,
So,
I'm glad I've joined and done it. So
yeah, I am too, right? But what I was going to ask you is when, your first time you met me and I've launched this crazy idea at you, why did you go for it?
um, I had the idea I needed to do some sort of project. Not sure what it was or um how to go about it. But then when you came to me with the book idea, I thought it was like the thing that I needed to distract myself a little bit and like um get myself uh um I don't know. Sorry.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you certainly got straight into it. I remember it was like we did our first bit of training and we'd been catching up each week and you were excited and even though you'd turn up and go, oh, I've got a migraine, I'm just going to listen in, and that was all awesome. Yeah. But as soon as you got some training, you're like, right, here you go. Here's a chapter.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
we did some toing and froing. But yeah, how was that process for you? How was writing your chapter?
Um, I found it at first quite difficult because of the migraines. I couldn't quite focus enough. Oh, like writing the first edition was fine, but then being able to read it and then like think about editing it all was a bit much, and I couldn't do it. So I kept rewriting everything,
Mm,
and um, eventually I was well enough to be able to bounce ideas off you and um, write and edit my chapter.
yeah.
So yeah,
And that was amazing to watch. Yeah. Um, in that process, I could see how quickly you adapted and got in there, and you learnt so much as you went through because every time you produced another one, which I'm going to say was really hard yards, right?
yeah,
But they just kept coming faster and faster. And every time it was getting, so much better. So that was the process for you. Any tools that you use, any tips that you give anybody else who, might be living with something that makes life difficult, like chronic migraines? How did you get through it?
Um, I guess sheer determination, will, and resilience. Like I was not in the mindset of giving up. There was not that never crossed my mind. Like there was always hard times and it bring me down a bit, but I always like the phrase, "Get knocked down 7 times, get back up 8." So
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. So what advice would you have for anyone who would be reading your chapter?
Um. So I can't think of it right now, but I do have some things written down. What was that? Any advice?
Yeah.
Um, I hope that people who are struggling in any case, uh, there can always be a light at the end of the tunnel. Find the root cause of your problems, to find the solution.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, that's
um, as I said before, get knocked down 7 times, get up 8.
yeah.
Also, be kind to those that are unwell. You will never understand fully what they are going
Mm,
um, through unless you physically go through it yourself.
yeah.
But I hope that comes through in my story a little bit.
Yeah, that's a massive, massive learning, isn't it? Um, so now you're done. You've done it. You got
Mhm.
through, you've written a chapter in a book. And I'm going to remind you that you first started your chapter and said, "Oh, I'll just do 1,000 words. I think that'll be enough." And then what happened, Josh?
I wrote too much. It just kept coming out, and then yeah, the stories kept getting bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
mm.
So now you've done it. How do you feel?
um, at first it was well, recently I've been like, oh yeah, I'm kind of happy about it. Like, but recently I've been talking to people, and then the more I talk about it, the more excited and more joyful I get around the whole thing. And coming up to the book launch, the closer and closer it gets, like more and more excited.
Yeah, it's getting exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm right there with you. So, last thing I want to ask you,
Mhm.
any advice for someone who's thinking of sharing their story?
Um, well, sorry, this is another thing can't quite get off the top of my head, so I might have to read it
Yeah,
again.
that's okay.
If you think you're up to it and you have a good story to share that can help others, I'd say go for it. It's been a little bit stressful, but writing alongside others, hearing their stories while learning and being a part of something that's bigger than just yourself, or myself, sorry, has been such a good experience overall. When you do something that is bigger than yourself, it has so much more meaning and fulfillment.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear, Josh. And look, there's nothing more than what Living Like Collective hope for you to keep experiencing nothing more than joy and fulfillment in life. And I know that we're going to support you to keep on doing that. So thank you very much for joining us today.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure.
Thanks, Josh.